Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. I kind of want this podcast just to talk about like things that I'm learning, things that I have learned, just ways to decorate on a budget. And so who knew a new puppy was going to be a podcast episode, but some things happened that I didn't see coming. So I thought I would share that because if I did it or it happened with me, I'm sure somebody else could benefit from it. But today I want to talk about upcycling furniture. Upcycling is something I could talk about forever. It is not only just furniture, but upcycling in general is just something that it's one of my favorite things to do. But a lot of times I will get questions from people that will say, "Can you upcycle furniture?" Like they just don't see the two going together. And so today I thought I would talk about yes, yes, 100%, yes. I'll talk about some of the things that I have done in the past, but if you are into flipping furniture, decorating your home on a budget, want to get custom decor, all those things, this is a podcast for you. So basically, when I looked up upcycling, I wanted to know what the legit definition is, and it says, from the Oxford Languages, it says reuse discarded objects or material in such a way as to create a product of higher quality or value than the original. I absolutely love that definition because it is, first of all, they talk about discarded objects and materials, and that's just like my jam. I'm always looking for things that can be upcycled or used in a different way. And if they're free or just, if it's on the curb or at a thrift store, at a yard sale, whatever it is. But, and it's a way to create something of higher quality or value than what it was originally. And you all know that I flip furniture. I have flipped furniture for years. We now have a course on how to do it and how to make money and be successful with it. And just by upcycling furniture into other things, you can make a lot of money just doing that. So it's not, when you think about flipping furniture, don't always think, well, you put slap a coat of paint on a piece of furniture and flip it that way. No, upcycle something that you couldn't paint or just make pretty by some paint, into other things or in other ways. And you can make money, with that as well. So obviously, there are so many benefits of upcycling. You're going to save money. That's like my main thing. Also, you're saving so much stuff out of the landfill. It's amazing what people will throw out or get rid of, or, you'll find at a thrift store at a yard sale. If they don't sell it or it doesn't, nobody picks it up, it's going to the landfill. It totally boosts your creativity when you're upcycling, trying to figure it out and different ways that you can use things. You get custom decor, furniture, pieces for your home. It gets you the exact style and look you want without having to pay a ton of money to get it. It sharpens your DIY skills. The amount of things that Matt and I have learned just through our upcycling projects, there's no better school than just by doing. And so we have learned a lot over the years. It makes you think outside of the box, which I love. I'm always, my brain is constantly spinning, and how can I use this? Wait, this still has a great patina, or this wood is still great. How could I reuse it or make it better? Or I'm constantly thinking of that. It encourages innovation, reduces the cost of production, and makes use of what you have. So those are some of the benefits of upcycling. But let's get into some of the basic steps for upcycling furniture and kind of how I do it. So whenever I am hunting for anything, so if I'm at a thrift store, estate sale, yard sale, I'm on the curbside, when I see something, you do have to be creative. You have to have an open mind. You have to, like I said, think outside of the box. And you need to see the piece or the thing differently than what it is. So look for the potential and possibility that it has, and not necessarily as it is, if that makes sense. So like I said earlier, if I see something that's got a great wood on it, or it's got an old wood or an old look, but yet it may be broken, or it's just not, maybe it's a piece of furniture, or it's, it's the harp to a mirror that was once on a piece of furniture, but it's just got a great patina, like one that's hard to replicate and it's hard to find. So I will try and figure out how I can use that mirror harp in different ways. And if you have ever, one of our favorite ways to upcycle those harps, mirror harps from furniture, is to make mantles out of them. And if you go to my website, mycreativedays.com, and just search faux mantle, you will see how easy that project is. If you do not have a mantle in your home, we do not have a real fireplace in our home. When we first moved in, there was no fireplace at all. After a few years, we did add an electric fireplace in our family room, and we did kind of build out some built-ins and a mantle and those kinds of things. But we don't have anything in our upper level, and so we have created so many faux mantles for our back porch, and we have one now in our living room. But those harps from mirrors of old pieces of furniture are great to upcycle and make into faux mantles. And all you need other than that is some scrap lumber and boards. So head to my website and you can see, I walk you through how to do it. It's such a simple project, and they look amazing when you get them done. And another thing I would tell you to do, so another step in upcycling furniture, is take a before photo. One of my favorite things about having my website is that I get to look back on the projects we've done. So sometimes when I'm scheduling out content or Facebook posts or Instagram content, or I'm creating reels or videos or whatever, I go to my website, and to look back at what we've done over the years, it's so much fun. And to have before photos of every project we've ever done, it's like the best scrapbook you can have, because people are not, so when you get your project done, whatever you're doing, whatever your upcycle project is, when you get that done, people are not going to believe that you started with whatever it is. They're going to be like, no, you didn't. There is no way that that's what it was. So you take proof. Take a before photo. You can thank me later, because even if nobody asks or nobody doesn't believe you, it's just good for you to see what you started with. And then obviously, to gather all the supplies and tools that you need to complete the upcycle project. So you definitely kind of want to know what you're getting into. Whatever you're turning it into, upcycling it into, do you need drills? Do you need saws? Do you need paint? Do you need glue? What are the things that you're going to need for the project? And then when you start your project, be open to changing your plans. Like I've said before, plan A is amazing, but I want to say more times than not, I guess I should say, I am usually using plan B, C, D, or E when we get into a DIY project, because it's just not going to happen the way I saw it, in plan A. And 9 times out of 10, when that happens, I love the alternate plans better. The outcome's so much better. So just be open to that. Don't get frustrated. It's just part of it. Just part of the process. And then take after photos in the end. Definitely take after photos, because you will amaze yourself. So some of the things that I've done before, I have picked up, and I do have a blog post all about this, so you guys can actually see visuals of these projects that I'm going to talk about. So we will leave that link in the show notes. But I found a dresser on the side of the road, and it had no drawers in it. It's kind of a taller dresser, had 4 drawers. It was made out of wood. It was an all wood dresser, but there was all that was there was the outer shell. It was painted a royal blue, and it was chipped really bad. But I picked it up. So with that dresser, we were able to create a bar that we sold to somebody that was super excited to have it in there. I can't remember if this was years ago, if it was an apartment or if it was a condo. But they had a small space, but they wanted to kind of have a bar section where they could kind of keep all their glassware and stuff. And we put, the hangers for like stemmed glasses. And we just turned this broken dresser into a bar, and the person that bought it was so excited because it fit what they wanted perfectly in their small space. Another thing that I love to pick up and upcycle are metal carts. So think your grandma's metal cart that would sit like in the kitchen, might have been in the garage or in the basement. If your grandma, my grandma had a basement where there was kind of like a bar area down there. And I just picture, she didn't have one down there. I think she had one at one point in her kitchen, but just think any metal old cart. It would have, handles on the side. It would be maybe on plastic wheels, or rubber wheels, but it usually had three sections or three trays, not really trays, but they were metal. And so I love to pick these up because, again, these type of things, well, you can go to any store right now. You can look on Wayfair, you can go to Target, you can go to Walmart, you can walk into a TJ Maxx or a Home Goods, and you will see carts, bar carts, beverage carts, these kinds of carts on wheels. People use them for art centers, beverage stations, hot cocoa stations, coffee stations, like a bar cart, if they're entertaining. So there's so many uses for them, but when you find them, they're usually decrepit, they're rusted, or they're not pretty. And so I have a few of those on my websites of ways you can upcycle those carts into beautiful pieces and you can sell them. People are looking for those a lot right now, or keep them for your own home. We have used them many times for different things when we're entertaining. So they're just so good to have on hand. Another one of my favorite things that we upcycled was an 1800s, it was like 1893 or 1889. I can't remember the exact date. It's on the website, but it was an organ, and we were at like a citywide yard sale, and there was just old organ, wasn't working, missing a lot of pieces, but the what was actually still intact and the detail on what was still intact, I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't replicate that. You can't buy that again. And so it was free. It was free. And we saw it, and then we got in the car, and I'm like, Matt, there were so many things on that organ that we could, take apart and reuse in different ways. I could just picture so many projects. And so there we were. We carted home this old organ, and we took it down. We took it apart. I mean, there was nothing working. It was falling apart. It was not you couldn't use it the way it was. But we were able to upcycle so many pieces of that organ. Just like the pieces, there were a couple pieces on the sides, I want to say, that were just beautiful and had so much detail. So I just painted them and distressed them, and those hung in kind of like our entry as you walk up our stairs from the front door for years. And people asked about them all the time. Where did you buy those? Where did you get? It was part of an old organ. We got it for free, and I painted and distressed it. There were kind of like the front legs. Those still were kind of intact, had tons of detail. And we actually used those to turn into a hall tree. That we used those along with an old door that we rescued from a school, and then we made it into a hall tree. That's on the website as well. There were some of not the keys. I don't know the actual name of what they are. I'm trying to remember because I finally sold them, but I had them forever. They weren't the keys, but they were something else on an organ, and I can't remember the name of it, and I'm not going to think of it now. But they just looked cool in a vase because they had the detail and the writing on the tops of them, and then they were tall, so you could set them in a vase. So there's just so many different ways that you can upcycle furniture. These are just a few of the things, just a few of the projects we've done. We've done so many. Probably one of my most recent upcycles was I was in a thrift store, and there was a massive mirror that I could tell was from an old dresser. And it almost looked like if can you think back in the day when everybody had water beds, and you'd get that big clunky like dresser that went with it. I never had a water bed, but I don't know if my sister did or somebody in my family did. And I just remember the huge dresser that kind of came with the set. And this piece would have sat like on top of that. But anyway, when I saw it in the thrift store, and there's a photo of this on the website in this post, but Like I said, we'll leave it in the show notes. It was massive. Like I'm standing next to it, and all it was the top. It was the mirror, and then, like the piece that the mirror would have connected to the dresser. And I immediately thought, because there's some side pieces to it too, and I immediately thought, oh my gosh, I've been looking for some kind of faux shelf mantle thing to put in our living room. I'd kind of rearranged some things, and I thought I need some kind of shelf or something to decorate. And so it was so huge. I'm like, this will be perfect. I know it'll be perfect. We need to flip it upside down. I want to take these pieces off and use them as part of the shelf. And so I called Matt, and I was trying to FaceTime him, and he couldn't obviously tell the size. And I usually have a tape measure on me. Side tip, always have a little tape measure in your purse or something when you're doing these kinds of, when you're at a thrift store or at a yard sale and stuff. So then you can kind of measure. But anyway, I was trying to tell him it's super tall, it's super long, and so it was really inexpensive. I can't remember, it was $12 or $15. And I was able to get that shelf. It was perfect for our living room. And then I upcycled the side pieces just into kind of like an architectural salvage type of thing. And then we sold the dresser or the mirror itself. So it was like a win-win all the way around. And like I said, these projects are all on my website. I have so many more. But when you're either first starting out, want to decorate your home without breaking the bank, you're starting to flip furniture, don't just think that you have to find an intact piece to flip or to make over. Now, obviously, if you're looking for a dresser for your bedroom, obviously you want to pick up a dresser that has drawers. But when you're out and about, you see something that's just not going to work for what you're looking for, or you need something, like I said, I wanted some kind of shelf in our living room. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew that I would know as soon as I found it. And it's not always, like, you're not going to always look for a shelf. This was a mirror off of a dresser that I needed to flip upside down. And then it made exactly what I wanted for our living room. So always keep your eyes peeled. Always keep an open mind. They're there. The projects are there. The upcycling, it's there all the time. You can upcycle furniture. Obviously, with these kinds of projects, you want to be getting these projects dirt cheap or free. So ask family and friends if they've got furniture they want to get rid of. When you're at the thrift store, look for those pieces that are they're not in the best condition, but yet still have something that you can upcycle and use in a different way in your home, or like I said, flip it to sell. So it's so much fun. It's so much fun to upcycle furniture because the possibilities are endless. They are endless, and we've done so many projects. And if you just go to mycreativedays.com and just search under the furniture tab, you will find so many different projects that we've done. Or the repurpose tab, a lot of those are upcycled furniture projects. Like we pulled out this longer dresser one time from a barn, had no drawers, had nothing in it. And it was probably one of my most popular projects that year when we did that. We made shelves in it. We created wood boxes. It turned out just really cool. And it was nothing when we pulled it out. So I could sit here and go through every project I've ever done because it's so much fun, but I won't do that. You guys can head to the website to see more and definitely check the show notes for some links to these blog posts that I'm talking about so you can kind of get a visual for what I'm talking about. But definitely you can upcycle furniture, and I hope you try a project. If you do, or you have done projects, if you have done some upcycling projects with furniture, share them on Instagram. Tag me at mycreativedays. Then I will see it if you tag me. Share it on Facebook, tag me. You can even send me an email. I love to see your projects. So with that being said, and without me talking any more about this fun topic, I will let you guys get on with your Monday, and I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you again soon. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.